Hey guys, the DLC 5 for Borderlands 2 just released. It's called Commander Lilith in the Fight for Sanctuary. 2K and the Borderlands team have sent me a code so that I could download it, so massive shout out to those guys. And while playing it, I came across some really cool Easter eggs, and I want to show you guys everything that I've found so far. The first thing I want to show you guys is a Game of Thrones Easter egg that actually gives you a reward. And Borderlands is known for doing some pretty obvious Game of Thrones Easter eggs. Those guys must be huge fans. I myself am also a huge fan. One of the existing Game of Thrones Easter eggs in Borderlands 2 is part of the Tiny Tina DLC. The entire DLC is called Assault on Dragon Keep, and one of the missions is to find and defeat King Joffrey, and this is clearly a tribute to King Joffrey from Game of Thrones. In the game, they even have him sitting on a throne just like in the show. Another reference to Game of Thrones that you can hear is in Sanctuary. There's an NPC that's walking around, and if you catch him at the right time, he says winter is coming, and that is like the entire catchphrase of Game of Thrones.
Winter's coming.
Did you say winter's coming? I could have swore that's what he said. Game of Thrones. I was live streaming one day when I caught that. I just thought it was funny. So the new Game of Thrones Easter egg is located in the new DLC 5, and to get to it, you need to go to the Burrows. You can reach the Burrows in the early missions. It's one of the first places that you go. But when you spawn into the Burrows, you can see on the top right of the minimap where I'm at, there's a little tiny cave that kind of jets off to the right. You really can't miss it, and once you walk in there, you're gonna get icicles on your screen to indicate that it's really cold in there, and you're going to see a sword in the middle of the cave. The sword allows you to activate it, and I'll show you guys what it does. But if you are a fan of Game of Thrones, then you might recognize where this comes from. This is representing Jon Snow's sword called Longclaw from Game of Thrones. Initially looking at the sword in game, you might not understand what it is because it doesn't look identical to the sword in the show, but once you activate it, you understand, yeah, it's definitely referencing Jon Snow's sword. I'll hold activate on it right here, and you just have to wait a few moments and you will see a skag come out of one of these holes right here, and if you put your crosshairs over it, you can see that its name is Ghost. And Ghost was the name of the direwolf that belonged to Jon Snow in the show. It's definitely kind of cute how they dressed up the skag and like made him all white to look like the white direwolf. With this Easter egg, you do collect a reward, and you always get the same thing every time. You do unfortunately have to kill Ghost, and he's pretty easy to kill. But once you do, he will drop a blue level relic, and it's pretty funny what it says. It says winter is over, and if you guys again watch the show, you'll get it. If you don't watch it or haven't watched it yet, I won't spoil it for you. But the relic is an incendiary relic, and it says increases all damage done with a specific damage type, and this one here is plus 21%. Also, if you quit out of the game and come back, you can redo this as much as you want, and it will always drop a new relic for you, but it'll always be the same one that says winter is over. The next thing I want to show you guys is kind of a small Easter egg tied in with a challenge that gives you badass rank, and to do this you need to head over to Helios Fallen. Helios Fallen, just like the Burrows, is going to be one of the first locations that you encounter, and this small side challenge Easter egg is going to be right as you enter the door. When you first come across this, you may not know what to do with it. I certainly didn't. I struggled with it for a moment and I finally figured it out, so I'll show you guys what you have to do to complete it. I believe this ties into another Borderlands 2 Easter egg where they reference Castaway and volleyball and a volleyball net, if you guys remember that mission. But once you come up over these stairs, you're going to see a volleyball net right in front of you, and there's going to be a volleyball on the ground that allows you to activate it. Once you activate it, it's going to throw it up in the air, and what you need to do is take the character body and just kind of jump and bump it and try to get it over the net. I tried meleeing it and shooting it with a gun, but that's not the way you do it. You have to just use your character body and bump it over the net like this. It will reward you with 5 badass rank, and the name of the challenge is Serve, Spike, and Slaughter. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is a tricky vault symbol that I accidentally found, and yes, vault symbols that are hidden around the map are back for this DLC. I found some of them, and a lot of them are pretty obvious, but this one in particular, I was not even thinking that there was going to be one in this location, and I accidentally got shot up onto a rock in the boss fight, and I was able to see it. This area here is called Writhing Deep, and this is the raid boss area where you're going to fight Hatterhex the be invincible. I made a whole video on this raid boss, on how to access it, how to defeat him, the tricks for doing so, and also some special loot that you can pick up to make it a lot easier in this fight. This special loot is designed just for this boss fight, and I'll show you guys where to get it in that other video, and I'll have that link down in the description. So in this boss fight arena, you're in this huge cave, and there's these craters on the ground that will burst air up, and if you stand on top of them, then it will burst you way up in the air, and you can land high up on these rocks. If you use the crater that's closest to the entrance tunnel, you want to just stand on top of that, let it burst you up in the air, and you'll land on this rock ledge. Then you want to turn right and follow the ledge around. When you get to the highest point, you should see the vault symbol on the right, and it should allow you to interact with it and discover it. And there will be 2 other vault symbols, and I don't know if they're going to be specifically in this arena, and if they are, they're probably going to be up high like this one is, so if you're looking for them, definitely hit those jets and get up on the rocks. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is a high tier loot crate that's hidden in the burrows area. Now these are going to be all over the DLC, but this is just one that I found and wanted to point out to you guys so you can go up there and check it out if you're running by this area. This area right here will spawn sandworms, and you actually do a mission where you fight a mini boss sandworm. So it's going to be on this end of the burrows, and if you make it to this area, you want to head over to these containers and get on top of them. They're pretty easy to get on top of, and it's some pretty basic parkouring. And once you do, you can head over to this ledge, and you're gonna go through some of this toxic gas, and you'll see the green light there indicating there's a chest. This might be a good location to get some of that really high tier loot that they just added in with this DLC called Effervescent. I haven't actually tested it yet, but I will be in the future, but it does give you some pretty good high tier weapons. If you guys are interested in getting this Effervescent high tier loot, I've made a video showing you how you can get the shields, the guns, the grenades, skins, relics, all of it. I'll have those videos down in the description, but I hope this helped you guys out, and we'll see you next video.